All right. Well, Jesse, Brian, Marilee, everybody, Seth, who's here, I'm not wearing my science robe today, but I am going to represent the TriSynergizer orb and how it explains LifeVantage's systems approach to nutrigenomics, wellness, and aging. For those who don't know what the orb is, I'm going to briefly explain it. The orb was a model that I constructed and was shown on stage last year at the 2019 Long Beach Elite Academy. And the funny little backstory to this contraption is that I almost got arrested by TSA for transporting what looked like a bomb to them because I had 3 camouflage beer cans filled with fog fluid that I transported in 3 different suitcases, along with PVC pipes, a compressor, a fog machine, everything in 3 different suitcases. So that I had collapse in order to try to get it to the convention center. And I think that when people saw me set this crazy thing up, that I must be nuts. Peggy, my wife, she wasn't too happy either because when I was building the darn thing over a 3-week period, I was creating free radicals and oxidative stress fog in our living room that smelled up the entire house. So once again, here is the orb in a virtual version to illustrate my talk. And the best thing is that no face masks are required. So today specifically, I'm focusing on the Protandim TriSynergizer line and how each of the 3 Protandim Synergizer products address the 3 theories of aging. Those theories to review include the NRF2 oxidative stress theory, the NRF1 mitochondrial theory, and finally the sirtuin NAD theory of aging. Now, let's be clear. When I say the word aging, I don't just mean someone in their 80s or 90s. We can actually measure the biochemical and physiologic effects of aging beginning as early as our 20s. So let's first discuss the current state of our body and how it works. This is an oversimplified graphic of the orb, which represents our body and its 37 trillion cells. Our body is made up of systems. There are physical systems consisting of organs, and we also have barriers to the world that serve to interface us with our environment. Examples of that include our skin, our hair, which is denoted by the pink outer ring in this model, and also includes our internal respiratory tract and our gut. All of those barriers have a microbiome too, and this is represented by a green outline. Obviously, food can be taken into the gut and can also affect our microbiome. Our body has chemical systems that are used to make energy and are used to remove and release toxins and waste. And in the middle of the orb is our cell's metabolic factory called the mitochondria. There's also a genetic DNA helix in the center of this orb that lives in the nucleus. All of these systems are controlled by complex cell signaling pathways like Dr. Dixon talked about. So what I'm showing here is on the right, a life-size plastic orb or a ball that represents our body. This thing is 8 feet tall. The outer plastic represents the physical barriers such as skin, hair, and gut. The orb also has a microbiome that lives on us and in us. And if you look closely, there's a plant in the center of the orb that represents this microbiome, or what I call the garden in the gut. At the top of the orb is a twisted pool float noodle that represents a DNA helix, the instruction code for the body. And finally, at the bottom, there's a cardboard cutout of a factory, which represents our body's energy source, the many mitochondria. The mitochondria have the ability to produce waste as well as energy. Now let's talk about what we're exposed to. There are oxidative threats and free radical damage that occur. Things like UV radiation from the sun, pollution, pesticides, herbicides, household and industrial cleaners, smoking, off-gassing from carpets, EMF from cell phones, Wi-Fi, on and on. We are not only stressed oxidatively, but also emotionally and physically due to our own metabolism, exercise, and due to external injury. These are just some of the many factors that can lead to adverse effects. When we go out into the world, we can't possibly be aware of all the daily exposures that we're coming in contact with. Examples are at the airport, or at the gas station, or in stores. This constant exposure to damaging factors overwhelms our natural ability to respond, especially as we get older. So damage essentially becomes cumulative. So what does this look like in our orb? This toxic fog is filling our body with free radicals. This is not only cellular waste that the body generates, but it's also coming from the environment, like I said before. These free radicals cause oxidative stress when we don't have enough of our internal good guys, the antioxidants, to neutralize them. They are bombarding not only all of the material in our cells, but they're damaging our genetic code, our factories, our microbiome, our gut, and our skin. As you can see, this body is totally filled up with toxic waste, the bad guys. You can't even see through it. It's obscured everything, and it has taken over this body. It's getting to be in really bad shape. So NRF2, as Dr. Brian Dixon explained, is a protein in all of our cells that monitors oxidative stress. The receptor, it rings the alarm when activated and turns on over 400 survival and housekeeping genes that are responsible for activating several normal cellular processes. These include repair and detoxification, protein and lipid metabolism, antioxidant protection, and other actions that keep our genetic blueprint intact. NRF2 reduces oxidative stress by turning on at least 3 enzymes that produce our internal antioxidants that are 1,000,000 times more capable than the usual external antioxidants that we might consume in food, in vitamins, and even in drugs. So this is a 1 to 1,000,000 ratio versus a 1 to 1 ratio. This is because of cellular signaling and amplification. And it's due to the synergy of the 5 natural and super pure ingredients that are found in Protandim NRF2. Activation of NRF2 by Protandim reduces oxidative stress by 40% in just 30 days. And it's proven in the literature at NIH and on PubMed.gov and by many prestigious research institutions. It's able to increase our superoxide dismutase enzyme by 30%. Catalase by 54%, and glutathione by 300% in under 120 days. So how does this look in the graphic? We can see that when the NRF2 messenger protein is activated by Protandim NRF2 Synergizer, that it mitigates the effect of all of these causes of oxidative stress, essentially detoxifying all of our 37 trillion cells simultaneously, reducing free radicals, and it also turns on those survival genes. This has been measured in essentially everybody who has ever taken it in a research study. That's why we have 7 US patents and 6 international patents. No one has ever done this before. And you know what? It's ours and ours alone. So what about the orb? We can see the red toxic light turn green, and the toxic fog begins to clear and exit out of the area in the upper left corner of the video where the yellow arrow was. This correlates with the yellow arrow and the graphic on the left side, showing enhanced removal of cellular waste and those free radicals. Now let's talk about Protandim NRF1. NRF1 helps our mitochondria by not only increasing their numbers, but by keeping them resilient, which helps keep those that we have healthy and functioning at their best. The benefit of having more mitochondria is that it lets us metabolize better, so we can generate more ATP, which is our body's energy or fuel. This improves our physical endurance and stamina, and it also increases our ability to be mentally alert. Look at the graphic. When Protandim NRF1 comes into the picture, it's able to increase both the numbers and the effectiveness of mitochondria. This causes the factory power and the energy production to be increased. Now that we have more factories, we can now make more energy for us to get rid of that waste and support our body's natural detoxification response that's already happening with Protandim NRF2. All things that require energy are improved with healthy mitochondria. That's how Protandim NRF1 Synergizer and Protandim NRF2 Synergizer actually help each other. So in essence, our bodies become more efficient at burning fuel. We become better at using food and oxygen, which in turn helps us make more energy, so we can do more physical and mental work. It helps to reduce tiredness and fatigue. Let me show you in the orb what happens when we have more efficient mitochondria. The red light turns green, but the speed of the removal of the oxidative stress is improved, and the orb continues to clear. You have to realize that the improved production of energy does come at a cost. it can produce more free radicals as more fuel is burned. So we really need to have that Protandim NRF2 around to be able to contend with this. It's the same as if we were exercising. When we exercise, we generate more waste, and then we also make more free radicals. So therefore, we need to have that Protandim NRF2 synergizer present in order to help us get rid of it. That's why the two protandims, when used together as the dual synergizer, were always referred to as the 1-2 punch. Now here's where Protandim NAD synergizer enters the picture. NAD stands for nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. I know, it's a complicated word, so we just say NAD. It's a molecule that's essential for many biologic reactions. Most notably in the mitochondria, it aids the breakdown of food that we eat for energy. NAD is important in so many processes in the body that everything that Protandim NRF2 and Protandim NRF1 already activate are further accelerated by the healthy presence of NAD. This includes improved cellular waste removal, and it also supports healthy DNA. It enhances mental and physical energy. It supports improved mood and motivation. It supports mental focus and concentration. All of the other NAD named products in the marketplace attempt to increase NAD by providing precursors or the materials that go into making NAD. But that's not what LifeVantage is doing. What we're doing is stimulating our own NAD production by activating the cellular gene switches using signaling pathways. We are flipping those switches the same as we did with Protandim NRF2 and NRF1 synergizer. It activates the body's normal systems to tell it to make more NAD. Isn't that brilliant? That's how we were able to get it to double sirtuin levels within 24 hours versus only a 2% rise by other competitors. Sirtuins are the proteins that do all of the heavy lifting of repair and the delegation of jobs in our body. This is how it supports healthy cholesterol levels, healthy inflammatory responses, joint health, vascular health, brain and energy functions, healthy DNA repair, and healthy glucose and energy utilization. I mean, we're talking about the trifecta here. Remember that NAD declines naturally with age by almost 50% by the time you're 45, by 98% by the time you're 80. We all need NAD to live and to be our absolute best, because without it, we can't survive. NAD is 100% necessary to support the normal cellular process of DNA repair using sirtuins, which is the last theory of aging. This theory of aging came from studies of sirtuin and NAD levels that were affected by caloric restriction and intermittent fasting. It turns out that when the body is stressed by the absence of food, that sirtuins and NAD increase. But now you don't have to do that to have improved NAD levels because we flipped that NAD switch. So here's the graphic again. We see the yellow ring of NAD activation increase the activity of the metabolic factory, the mitochondria. And then it further enhances the removal of cellular waste and detoxification by NRF2. What it's really doing is locking arms and bolstering the beneficial effects of NRF2 and NRF1 activation, presuming that it's already in place. This is the TriSynergizer effect. So here's our orb again. Look at the bottom, the fireworks have started. This cell is now turbocharged with the NAD present. The factory is flashing like mad with enhanced energy production and removal of waste. Look, the orb is clearing the toxins, and the DNA and the plant are beginning to be seen again. If you follow this, you'll realize that when you combine all of the Protandim synergizers in this TriSynergizer concept, along with the great benefits of being on the other LifeVantage products, we can now have the potential to change the human condition like no other wellness company can. This effect is being patented again with 3 new patent applications. I mean, how great is that? So when you add the LifeVantage probiotic and the prebiotic to the TriSynergizer, We're flipping more healthy signaling pathways using our microbiome. We've again created the perfect synergy of products, which I like to call the Biohackers Toolkit. It's formally known as the Ultimate Stack, and it's the absolute best way to utilize these products. You guys, this is crazy, brilliant science that uses the synergy of ingredients and then the tri-synergy of cellular activation science to unlock the cell and your body to achieve its full nutrigenomic potential. This is what tri-synergy amplification looks like compared with using just each of the products alone. NRF1 is increased to a maximum of 69% over baseline. This is how we energize. NRF2 is increased to a maximum of 1,563% over baseline. This is how we neutralize. NAD is increased to a maximum of 1,792% over baseline. This is how we revitalize. Absolutely unheard of. It doesn't make any sense to use only just one or two of the Protandim synergizers, knowing what we know now. This is what it looks like in a graph. This is the same data. The bars barely fit on the page. And here's what it looks like in bottles and in packets. I hope everybody on this webinar is now able to really appreciate the TriSynergizer, what it's doing inside your bodies, and that way you can really recommend it to your family, your friends, your clients, and your fellow distributors. Thank you, Jesse and Brian, as always, for this opportunity to teach and to share this science.